Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name's Kathleen Bruner, and I am excited today as we kick off our webinar, Navigating GxP Compliance Through Integrated Artificial Intelligence Applications. And today we are gathered here kind of to have a conversation at the confluence of two worlds coming together, the pharmaceutical sector and artificial intelligence. And as we progress in today's digital age, it's becoming very clear that the integration of artificial intelligence into various industries isn't just a luxury anymore, but it's really becoming a necessity. And perhaps there's no domain where its impact is felt as profoundly as in the pharmaceutical and biotech industries, and under the umbrella of Pharma 4.0. And today, I am very honored to be joined by two very distinguished speakers, Mr. Tony Manzano. He's not only the co-founder and chief scientific officer of Aizon, a company dedicated to harnessing the power of smart manufacturing for the pharma and biotech sectors, but he also carries a wealth of experience and accolades that highlight his authority in the realm of AI. Mr. Manzano has been a subject matter expert for artificial intelligence and biopharmaceuticals at the UN. His academic contributions include professorships at the university, where he has imparted knowledge on artificial intelligence subjects. He served as a member of the science experts in the Spanish Parliament, offering insights on big data and artificial intelligence. A physicist by training, Mr. Manzano also holds a master's degree in information and knowledge of information and knowledge society, and has a postgraduate credentials in quality systems for manufacturing and research pharmaceutical processes. Today, as we kind of embark on this journey and conversation, we will explore the very essence of artificial intelligence, its nuances of the data, and the secret sauce of AI, the workflow of AI, the intricacies of algorithms, maths, and models. And finally, we'll take a look at artificial intelligence in action. We'll take time to discuss some case studies, exploring challenges and discovering solutions. So in addition to Mr. Manzano, we're also joined by George Bruner, Chief Digital Officer at Acumen Analytics. Acumen Analytics works in the life sciences sector, driving transformation by leveraging data, technology, advanced analytics, and innovation. Mr. Bruner has extensive experience as an IT leader in multiple life science organizations, including Nanosystems, Elon, Merck, and Johnson & Johnson. With over 2 decades of in-depth knowledge and insights, he's been at the forefront witnessing and contributing to the evolution of technology and data analytics in the life sciences sector. George has a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Temple University and an MBA from Villanova. George does not just confine his knowledge to the professional arena, but also extends it into the academic field as well, and serves as an adjunct professor both at Villanova and St. Joseph University. We're excited today to have both guests join us as we begin our conversation, and I'm really looking forward to talking with you both today. Tony, maybe you can tell us a little bit about Aizon.
Sure. Actually, Aizon is a company, but also is a platform. It's a platform where manufacturing industries in the pharmaceutical industry are running AI on real time in order to predict, in order to recommend, in order to find out patterns, in order to discover outliers before they happened. And this data is already shared with the operators in real time in order to always have the best batch as they can with the best efficiency and the best efficacy in the processes. So Aizon is a platform where AI is running on top and is running under GxP conditions. So it's already validated and can be validable for customers.
Excellent. George, maybe I'll pass the ball to you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Acumen's core competencies, and then we can get the conversation started.
Sure. So Acumen's core competencies are in advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, blockchain, process automation, digital twins, and regulated data harmonization. And we also help companies, life sciences companies, perform their strategic approach to applying advanced analytics to their processes. Yes. Okay.
So I think before we get the conversation started, I'd like to kind of poll the audience and take a look as we begin this conversation about navigating the integration of artificial intelligence into GxP. I think it's valuable for us to kind of get a sense of where we stand. And so we'll take a minute here. You can see the poll on your screen. The poll should also pop up for you. And you should see radio buttons there. So we want to kind of take a look at, where do you stand? You're fully integrated with artificial intelligence. Perhaps you're just in the middle, getting things going, or perhaps you're thinking about jumping in soon. Or are you just really sitting back and thinking we're on the fence about where we are? Next, on a scale of 1 to 5, just how confident are you feeling about artificial intelligence's role in managing GxP compliance? And taking a look at this in a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being a bit skeptical and 5 being all in. And then lastly, every transition comes with challenges. And, you know, if you can just let us know, what's the top concern you think you are facing or that you foresee when it comes to integration, artificial intelligence, and GxP environments? Is it about data quality? Is it about training the models? Or maybe there's concern with navigating the regulatory landscape, or maybe it's looking for more expertise in the area. So if we give everyone a minute to kind of take a look at the questions and provide their information. And again, the presentation will be available afterwards in recording. The information from the poll, we expect to be able to share out. Give everyone just another minute. I think it looks like.
We split out.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. So it looks like we have a pretty spread out breakdown on the first question. Looks like about 18% of folks have fully integrated artificial intelligence, and 27% have partially or are partially in the process of integration. 27% again have not started but plan to in the near future, and 27% have no immediate plans, have not started and have no immediate plans at this point in time. All right, so I think that will kick things off. Tony, maybe we can start. I know artificial intelligence is the buzz today, but maybe we start with a high level overview and talk just what is artificial intelligence?
Good question. Let me share with you the secret about this invader that is invading all our lives. Is everywhere, and everyone is using today, maybe consciously or unconsciously. But AI has many definitions. But in the university, when I'm teaching at my students, I'm always bringing the same definition. I think that it's not the best one in the world, but I like to use it. I usually say that artificial intelligence is like a cocktail where we can mix 3 main ingredients. The first ingredient is power computing. The second ingredient is software, algorithms. And the third ingredient is maths. I'm so sorry, but if you want to use AI and you want to be an expert in AI, you have to know a little bit of maths. This is the price that you have to pay in order to understand how this invider is working today. With these three ingredients, power computing, algorithms, and maths, you can always create AI. You can generate your own AI models. But in pharma, if you work in pharma or you work for life science, with these three main ingredients, it's not enough. You need the secret sauce in this cocktail in order to have a very, very good cocktail. The secret
Mhm.
ingredient, I don't know if you already guessed it, but it's quality data.
Yes.
Without quality data, we cannot do AI for GxP environments. Actually, AI is when you work with models. Models are the result of feeding algorithms with the data that you are using. Models are reflecting this data set that you are using. So if the model is a reflection of the data that you are selecting, this data needs to be good. Otherwise, the model won't be good. So remember the garbage in, garbage out typical sentence
Mhm.
that works very well in the AI definition.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Thank you very much, Tony. So I think what we want to kind of dive into is maybe unpack a little bit about our industry, the life sciences industry, and talk about whether talk about you know, good laboratory practices, good clinical practices, and of course, good manufacturing practices. So George, maybe you can share something about this as we continue talking.
Sure. So at the core of the GxP regulations lies an unwavering three-part mission. First is product quality. We're not just talking about ticking boxes and meeting bare minimum standards. It's about pushing boundaries to ensure that the products making their way to market are of absolutely highest caliber. It is a commitment to innovation and excellence and making certain that each product, be it a drug or a device, it's a testament to the dedication to quality. Next, let's take on patient safety. At the end of the day, everything we do circles back to the well-being of the patients. It's about ensuring that every individual who interacts with our products can do so with the utmost confidence. The significance of this can't be overstated. And it's an era where trust is the golden rule, and our adherence to GxP standards is our pledge to prioritize patient safety above all else. And it's a bond of trust, assuring that behind every product is a legion of professionals committed to their safety. And then there's data integrity. Tony alluded to data integrity, that AI can't exist without it. And it's increasingly, the world is data driven. The sanctity of the data is paramount. It's not just about accuracy, it's about ensuring transparency, reliability, and traceability. Every piece of data is a cog in the intricate machinery of our operations, and ensuring its integrity means that the machinery runs smoothly and efficiently. And we're living up to the information age, and having trustworthy data isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. So now imagine introducing AI into this mix with the industry, the data. We're not just talking about adding a new layer to the operations. It's about synergizing AI with our GxP principles. And this integration should be seamless, where AI doesn't stand as an outlier, but rather complements and enhances our adherence to these principles. We need AI to be a trusted sidekick, working in tandem with our GxP endeavors and amplifying our efforts, making things more efficient, precise, forward-looking. It's about harnessing the power of AI to not only meet, but elevate the standards we're so committed to.
Excellent. So I think let's pivot a little bit to a subject that's both rich and undeniably pertinent, I think. The interplay of data sources and AI's expansive applications. So whether we're forecasting trends, refining yields, or putting preventative measures in place to avoid failures, the potential here is tremendous, I think. So let's think about it. Predictive capabilities, cost savings, tangible improvements in output. There's real tangible value here. But as with all transformative shifts, there are challenges to navigate. Adhering to GxP regulations while integrating artificial intelligence isn't just a simple walk in the park. We are dealing with the crux issues of data integrity, thorough validation, and the ever-evolving realm of change control. But here's the silver lining. Operational excellence methodologies are the compass for this journey. And whether it's the efficiencies of Lean or the precision of Six Sigma, these strategies can guide AI integration in a compliant and streamlined manner. And with operational excellence at the helm, we're not just reactive, but we're proactive, and we're fostering a mindset that's always on the lookout, ever vigilant and primed for compliance readiness. So as we move forward, I think we're going to talk here about some real world examples to illustrate just how these principles can be brought to life. And Tony, I know this is a great slide and conversation here as we get into some real world examples. So maybe you can kick us off here. One of the areas that particularly stands out is automatizing human cognition and thinking about cell and gene therapy. So maybe Tony, you can shed some light on this.
Very good. So actually, as you said, you're describing very well what AI is intended in the industry. So when we talk about AI in fintech, in aeronautics, in gaming, in sales, in marketing, at the end, AI is a robot. AI is a machine that is working 24/7 and is simulating cognition, human cognition. It's not like a robotic arm that is doing the same movement every time. So AI is the same, but not doing this kind of movement. AI is doing cognition. And I think that we can start with a very nice way to understand how AI works. And I would like to explain a capability that probably you are not familiar with AI. Is AI is able to extract the essence of the data that we are feeding in the AI systems. Let me start with this example. In this slide, you have in front of you some cells, some cancer cells. In this case, they're melanoma. Well, humans, we are good when we are doing some action, some activities once, when these activities, they require a lot of cognitive efforts. Well, the thing is that when we do that in a repetitive way, humans, we are not very good because we are exhausted at the 10th time that we repeat the same thing. But AI works 24/7 doing the same thing. In this case, could you imagine that humans are detecting cancer in the microscope based on the cytoskeletal structure of the cells? Well, people is exhausted after 1 hour working with. In this case, AI is extracting the essence of these cancer cells, this melanoma, and in the right side, you have how AI is splitting the pictures, the images, into pixels. If we go to the next slide, you will see that this is more split or more divided between how AI can detect the known cancer cells and the cancer cells, splitting these features of the cell morphologies. At the end, AI is able to do that in a systematic way, analyzing pixel by pixel. So if we go to the next slide, I will explain very briefly how that works. In this case, we have different AI algorithms, and I don't know if you are familiar with the PCA. I see someone in the audience that I'm pretty sure that they are working with PCA. Well, please don't give me wrong. PCA is good, but only when we have a linear approach. The principal component analysis is working well in a linear approach. In this case, we have a cell, a morphology cell coming from a cancer cell. This is the bullet sphere that you have that is moving around. With each color, we have different characteristics. It's a different morphology of the cancer cell. In the right side, you have 4 different algorithms analyzing this morphology and extracting the essence of this morphology and trying to maximize each particular attribute. In this case, you will see that PCA is not very good because all the attributes are a little bit messy. The T stochastic neighbor embedding algorithm is the top corner in the right. It's a little bit good, but the best ones are the UMAP, the uniform manifold approximation projections, and the linear discriminant analysis. This is an example about how AI works. AI is able to maximize, to augment this essence of the attributes in pixels, in images, in order to differentiate and analyze them. For humans, when we are very well trained, this is easy. But when you are doing that hours and hours, you are completely tired. AI is doing that in a robotic way. And for the reason, today, there are different algorithms that, for example, in this example, with more than, sorry, with more than 4,000 images coming from the melanoma, the system is able to detect with 97% of accuracy when a cell is cancer or not. So very, very good because this is doing that 24/7.
Exactly. So I think maybe transitioning a little bit to some of the current buzz. We've all heard acronyms LLM and GPT kind of tossed around in recent discussions, but they really are much more than buzzwords, and they really represent some of the most cutting edge advancements. And maybe we can talk, Tony, a little bit briefly, I guess, just because we want to talk about what everyone else is hearing likely about LLM and GPT.
Sure. Maybe if the audience is not very boring, maybe we can make a second webinar in order to explain that. But before the audience is asking for that, I'm so sorry, but we cannot use ChatGPT for drug manufacturing in GxP environments. I'm so sorry, but you cannot release your batches today using ChatGPT. The reason about why is the following one. Could you see in the left side, you have a very nice decision tree that you can use in your daily job in order to decide which is the best algorithm to use for a specific problem. Well, the thing is that the decision tree starts with the start node, and the first question is, do we have more than 50 samples in the data? If we don't, we cannot go ahead. So I'm so sorry, but again, data is so crucial. And if we don't have at least 50 samples, we cannot do anything. Maybe you can make a linear regressor, just a regression, no, but this is not AI. Well, you can follow the decision tree based on if you want to categorize, or you want to cluster, or you want to make a supervised or non-supervised model. Anyways, always the decision is based on the data and the quality of the data that you are using. So this is the classical one. But believe me, you need to rely on the data that you are using. Now, I have a question for the audience. Do you trust on the data that ChatGPT has been trained for? Because if you ask for my pH is between 5 and 7 and the density is whatever, can I release my batch? So the idea is that you cannot create AI models, or you cannot rely on AI models for your batch release, for example, or to detect deviations, or in order to calculate outliers in your process, because you don't know where the data has been created and which is the intended use of this data. So today, there are a lot of my PhD students that they are doing some jobs trying to identify or trying to explain why ChatGPT is biased, because they're biased about religion, about race, about gender. So we cannot rely. So on the other hand, my suggestion for you is, well, before to go to these long models or to these generative training models, maybe we should be trained about the classical AI.
And Tony, I think you basically set us up to kind of give a little bit of a higher level overview in the life sciences space. And maybe you can share a little bit of your perspective on the broader landscape, the integration and potential of artificial intelligence in life sciences, and maybe how do we see it reshaping research?
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. Well, actually, here you have a very nice workflow, AI life cycle. And we have already, we're lucky because the FDA and the EMA, they published very recently some papers in order to describe how AI should work not only as a software, as a medical device, also in drug manufacturing. And the life cycle so is very, very general. At the beginning, the most important thing is that we need to identify, we need to determine very well which is the intended use. We need to describe why and for what we need this AI. So we need to understand the problem and we need to go to the data that describes this problem. So the data needs to be very linked with the problem that we want to solve.
Right.
Well, we need to go to the decision tree and we need to identify which is the algorithms, because usually one problem in manufacturing, drug manufacturing, is never solved with only one model. You're going to need more than one,
Right.
usually. So
Right.
once you have the data, you need to identify those algorithms that they are needed in order to explain the problem. For example, probably you're going to need one algorithm in order to detect outliers, and the other one to predict a variable, and maybe another one to predict another variable. Once you have these models, you need always to link with the result the accuracy, and if you can, the confusion matrix is the way that you have in order to evaluate, to assess your model. You put the models in plural because one problem is solved usually with more than one model. You put your models in deployment in production once the model has been validated. And this model is running on real time, getting predictions, recommendations, or identifying patterns. But good point, we need always to monitorize the model. We cannot run the model forever. This is,
Right.
I'm so sorry, but this is the reality. Models,
Right.
models are drifting and they need to be rebuilt, and they need to be created again once the factors and the conditions they are changing. And that happens when some new factor appears, or for example, when operators, they know that they are interacting with AI, they change completely their interconnection, and the model needs to be retrained again.
Right. So maybe you can share a little bit about the secret sauce.
Yeah. I think that also likes a lot to George. Well, in this slide you have this guy. This guy is my hero. Bash Narishman is the CEO of Novartis, and he is changing completely the meaning of the pharmaceutical industry. Well, in 2018, he was interviewed by Forbes, and he was so brave because he admit that Novartis today has a problem trying to apply AI because they have a problem trying to understand data. So before to go to any kind of analytics, any kind of multivariate approach, you need to rely data. And believe me, data is, or preparing data or data preprocessing is nothing simple. In the AI world, and probably if we have in the audience AI experts, you will confirm that in the AI world, the 80% of the time that we spend is preparing and cleaning data.
Mhm.
So usually in the projects, we have always the AI experts that they are the supermans, the heroes, but the real heroes are the data science that they are fighting and preparing all this data that needs to be clean and well prepared. Here you have the nice the nice Alcoa principles. No, everyone in the audience knows the acronym, but we need to know that in the AI world we have the equivalent to the Alcoa Plus. This equivalent principle is fair data. Fair data means findable. The data must be accessible, must be interoperable and reusable. I would say that if we want to use AI in pharma, we need to put both acronyms together. I would say Alcoa Fair or Fair Alcoa. I don't know how, but we need to work with both.
Thanks. So I think maybe what we need to kind of shift the conversation to now is talk a little bit more about seeing it in action. What is it that, what can we look at from a tangible illustration? And I know that one area where there's been advancement due to AI integration is root cause analysis. And especially when we are talking here about OEE and, the challenges and then, what kind of solutions. So maybe we can talk a little bit about how it may have transformed the approach to uncovering root causes and what are some results that we can see.
Mhm. Good. So in this case, I would like to introduce this real use case because it's already public. Novo Nordisk published that in YouTube, so you can look for that, and it's something that we can share the name. Well, in the picture, you can see me here in the group of team that was fighting against the elements of data. In this case, the problem was, well, we were working with a very high automated filling line in downstream. When we were working with pens of insulin, and this highly automated line was prepared in order to produce a lot of final and packaged products, packaged pens, uh, because, well, this line was the most automated and the most productive. Nevertheless, this machine was a lot of downtimes. Well, on all this, they didn't know why, and they tried to do a lot of things, but they couldn't. And at the end, they decided to go to AI, and in this case to Aizon, in order to solve the problem. Well, this is the business challenge: how to solve the problem. Well, probably, I don't know if you know that in Denmark, where this site was working, Denmark, we have very good weather in summer, but it's not very good in winter or in autumn. So we're suffering
Right.
a lot. The first thing that we did was try to analyze all the signals that we had coming from 2,500 batches that we had accumulated in the past. With all those batches, we tried to find out those factors that were more relevant in the manufacturing, the yield, and the batches that they were producing less time with less downtimes.
Mhm.
We realized that not all of them, or the problem was not totally explained by by the data that we have collected. That means that the intended use that we were mentioning before is not reflected by the data that we collected. So
Right.
again, data is so crucial. Without good data, we cannot create good AI models. Well, we tried to figure out which other factors could affect to the process, and we started to add more data sources. In this case, we added the MES, the OPC systems, also
Mhm.
the systems coming from TrackWise, from deviations, and also we added weather as part of the data. Well, the thing is
Interesting.
that surprisingly, if we go to the next slide,
Yeah.
surprisingly, we identify that,
Oops. There we go.
yes, this one.
Got
This
too
one.
far ahead.
No worries, no worries. I'm also excited about that. So the good point is that we were working with 130 factors. So that means columns in a spreadsheet, 200,000 batches. So we cannot work with a spreadsheet here. So we need a cloud system in order to compute all that. Remember this, the first ingredient of the cocktail, power computing.
Mhm.
And determine the critical variables were temperature, the number of pens produced per carton, the batch size, and the day of the year. Wow, the day of the year was a crucial factor. This data is never considered in the machines or in the master recipes or whatever, in the
Mhm.
ERPs, but the day of the year describes more or less in which density, in which humidity we are working with in this session, and the warehouse conditions where the cartoon was
Mhm.
stored. So could you imagine the machine is very sensitive to the changes, and when the
Right.
cartoon has been stored in the warehouse in a humidity or not or dry conditions in the warehouse, because cartoon is not subjected to the specific climate conditions, well, it could affect if the setup of the machine is not good. Today, making the setup of the machine before to start knowing all those variables, the system is working very smoothly, and the prediction and the conditions of the batch is always optimal. So that's very good.
That's awesome. So I think another area where we're seeing solutions to challenges is I guess in decreasing yields over extended periods.
Yes.
And over time and really over years. And then, as you were just mentioning, the variability leading to lower yields. And yield is the critical output that everyone's looking for, right? And maximizing it and safely maximizing it. And so maybe, you can talk a little bit about how AI is being employed in this scenario to maybe reverse or mitigate some of these trends.
Sure, sure. And maybe I think that maybe we can explain that with an example. In this case, I cannot share the name of this company, but I would like to share the use case because it's reflecting your topic, your comment, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Let me explain you that because it's really interesting. In this case, we're talking about a company that is manufacturing immunoglobulin based on the human plasma. Well, the human plasma is coming from donors, from centers of blood donation. Could you imagine how much difficult it is to manage this raw material with disparate CQAs? The first thing is that you cannot say no to this raw material and the suppliers because this raw material is coming from donors, and this raw material is gold, so you cannot say no. It's blood.
Right.
We're talking about blood.
Right.
Well, but the main problem is that you need to accept the blood as it is, no, with the CQAs, and you cannot control the CQAs. They are coming as they are. Well, the thing is that this company is working mainly with two main phases in consecutive operations. It's centrifuge, so they are centrifuging the plasma, and afterwards they are filtrating the output of the centrifuge. That is repeated several times. Okay, the output of one operation is the input of the next one. And at the end, we have different immunoglobulin results. Well, the thing today is that this company realized, they already knew, that the quality of the blood was decreasing consistently and the yield of the final result of the product, the output product, was not good enough. Well, what to do? In this case, the only way is work with AI. AI is a multivariate approach for complex things because we're considering all the factors at the same time. Well, after just some weeks, we determined which were the factors, the CQAs that were affecting more in each phase, centrifuge and filtration, and consequently in all of the operations that they were performed sequentially. Today, this company is able to graduate and to set up the perfect parameters before to start, the perfect parameters for each operation in each phase in order to have a stabilized yield that they want. So this is amazing because at the end, although the process is always the same, this is another secret sauce. First, determine which is the critical factors. Second, rely on your data. Third, find the right algorithms and create the models and apply the models on real time. With this formula, you can have always magic results.
Awesome. So why don't we maybe weave in some aspects now of validation and data integration and refine this narrative a bit on AI's transformative role in GxP environments. So looking at AI and GxP and beyond automation and thinking about Industry 4.0. So in the realm of GxP, be it good laboratory, clinical, or manufacturing processes, AI has ushered in possibilities that really extend beyond conventional automation. And with the tenets of Industry 4.0, it's not merely about digital transition, but it's ushering in an era where machines and algorithms and human insights intersect and really giving rise to data-informed decisions. I mean, we've talked about data-informed decisions forever, but this is really putting it into every day. And operational excellence is the backbone of transformation. It's consistently emerged as the linchpin in many of these transformative stories. It's what everyone's really trying to get to as a goal. And it's not just about streamlining, but it's more about creating an ecosystem for cross-functional collaboration thriving and kind of dismantling silos and fostering interdisciplinary teamwork, not just about dialogue alone. And it's a meticulous journey that it requires refining of processes and aligning overarching goals of efficiency and quality. And so when we measure these results, the metrics are standing out not just as figures, but really as markers of tangible process enhancement, minimization of waste, and notably an uptick in quality. So I think, George, maybe you can talk a little bit, as we talk about the QMS dialing into predictive power.
Sure. So quality management systems, or QMS, imagine that the QMS is a dynamic dial. On one segment, it captures the historic nuances, the archived deviations, the captured patterns, and accrued wisdom. As this dial turns towards the present, it harnesses the reservoir to provide magnified understanding of contemporary operations. Pivoting to the future, it's not just about reactive measures, it's predictive. So predictive quality, not reactive. And I think a term that's very common is CAPA, which is corrective action and preventative action. What AI is doing is allowing you to switch from reactive or corrective to preventative. On the data integrity and validation foundations for AI, central to AI's efficiency are these two things. It's a seamless integration of data sources, but integration isn't solely about collecting data or collating data. It's about ensuring its veracity, validation. Validation emerges as a cornerstone, ensuring that the data AI processes are both reliable and robust. And this dual emphasis ensures that prediction and insights are not just data-driven, but are rooted in accuracy and dependability. On the electronic batch record side of things, electronic batch records, when supercharged with AI, spotlight the fiscal prudence of an AI integration by offering real-time oversight and harnessing predictive analytics. The intent isn't just to rescue a batch, which is itself can amount to a substantial savings. It is also the nuanced capability to pinpoint when to pause a process, conserving resources and safeguarding quality. So in conclusion, while AI offers a plethora of tools and capabilities, its true brilliance with GxP environment shines when underpinned by Industry 4.0 principles, with vigorous validation and guided by seamless data integration. So the horizon looks promising. That is always, it's a journey, and ahead is as much about the technology as about the vision that directs it.
And so, George, I think all great points here. So maybe we take time now and we take a poll from the audience and talk a little bit about the timeline that maybe people are seeing as far as implementation of artificial intelligence in a GxP environment. So when do you plan to start or perhaps intensify your efforts in integrating artificial intelligence for GxP compliance? This year, next year, perhaps in the next 2 to 3, or just not anytime soon. So we'll give everyone a chance to give us a sense, and then we can take a look at the distribution and see where we're falling. And while we're letting everyone complete the poll, the next thing that we're going to take a look at is future trends and what is the outlook. And then we're going to take some time for Q&A before we wrap up. And just to remind everyone, this recording will be available, and we will share this out once the recording has been packaged up. So for those of you who maybe joined a little bit late, or perhaps for colleagues and viewers that perhaps weren't able to join today, feel free to pass this along and share it. Let's see where we are. Oh, interesting. Okay. So on the previous poll, we had the second, third, and fourth parts. Everyone seemed to be kind of close, but in this case, this year, 40% of folks are indicating that they plan to either start or intensify efforts integrating artificial intelligence for GxP compliance. 27% are indicating that next year, they feel like that's where they're headed. 9% are saying that it'd be in the next 2 to 3 years. And 27% are saying that it's not on the roadmap anytime soon. Interesting. So again, thanks everyone for that. So why don't we take a look, George? I'm interested to find out, as we look at the evolving landscape in GxP and AI integration, maybe you can talk a little bit about the evolving landscape.
Sure.
Some and touch on maybe a little bit about operational excellence again.
Sure.
In that conversation.
Sure. All right. So the evolving landscape with GxP and AI is that there's an interface between AI and GxP environments, and it's a state of perpetual evolution. This change, while driven by technology innovation, is also constantly shaped by a blend of regulatory requirements, industry needs, and market pressures. As we stand at this point, it's evident that the challenges are many manifold, and ensuring data integrity in an age of information overload and navigating the complex web of regulations that vary across jurisdictions. But with the challenge comes opportunities. The potential to harness AI for real-time analytics, predictive maintenance, and quality assurance is revolutionary. And we're just looking at the incremental improvements, but transformative shifts that can redefine operations. So on the operational excellence side, it's a steady compass for changing times. Operational excellence isn't a mere methodology, it's a philosophy and the evolving terrains. It serves a consistent guidepost. As regulations shift and technology continues its relentless march, organizations need a stable framework to ground their strategies. Operational excellence provides this, emphasizing efficiency, adaptability, and the relentless pursuit of quality. The methodologies within operational excellence, be it Lean or Six Sigma or something else, offer the tools and techniques that can be modified and applied to meet the specific challenges posed by the integration of AI in the GxP environment. They promote a culture that values continuous improvement, a factor that becomes crucial when dealing with the ever-evolving technologies like AI.
And George, maybe does that mean that operational excellence is perhaps fostering kind of a ready for the future culture?
Yeah, exactly. So operation at its core installs a mindset of adaptability. It emphasizes proactive approach, a readiness to anticipate changes, and to pivot. This culture of adaptability ensures that the innovation doesn't happen in isolation. Instead, it's interwoven with compliance, ensuring that organizations innovate. They remain steadfast in their commitment to quality and regulatory norms. So in conclusion, as the landscape of AI and GxP environments evolve, the principles of operational excellence are invaluable. They'll serve as the beacon, ensuring that organizations not only navigate the challenges of the present, but are also poised to harness the opportunities of the future.
Awesome. And as we are coming around to the top of the hour, I thought we could take a couple of minutes for Q&A. I have 2 questions to kick us off, and then we can wrap up. So the first question is around validation in artificial intelligence models and keeping the model validated. So that's the first question. And then the second question, going back earlier, Tony, you brought up something about compute power, and you know, with it's not the advent, it's around now, becoming more commercially available, quantum computing. You're seeing that amplify capabilities that perhaps we don't even know are possible right now. So they're the 2 to kick it off, and then I'll monitor the chat to see if we have anything else.
Sure. I can take a shot at the validation piece of it, and then I'll let Tony take the second one. One of the concerns about AI is that it is constantly evolving, but one of the things that I wanted to put out there is AI happens, and it can happen in a very controlled way. Okay, the systems learn, but as Tony said, they need to be monitored, and the implementation of the validation, and that change and the monitoring all needs to happen in a very controlled way. And we can do that. We're using tools like digital validation. We're using tools like change control, and the FDA is accepting the fact that AI, not just in operations, but also in devices and things like that, AI is here, and it needs to be managed and validated.
Excellent. We have another question in the chat. So, Tony, do you want to just talk briefly about the quantum computing, and then we can head to there's two questions in the chat now.
Sure. I was trying to type the answers in the chat. But yes.
We'll gather the answers too and put them out if we don't get to all the questions.
Regarding the quantum computing, I like this question because, AI works very well when we are working with complex systems like the nature. And in drug manufacturing, specifically, the systems are really complex. For example, if we have to manufacture drugs based on vaccines or based on yeast, based on life, every single batch is different because we are working with life. And life is evolving continuously and is reacting in a very sensitive way with the conditions. So AI is good, very good, when it needs to emulate what happens in complex systems. Well, the reality in the real life, in the real world, in the nature, is that the life is not only complex, it's not only multivariate, it's always parallel. So you have different threads working together at the same time, exchanging between themselves information, and quantum computing is intended for that. So with quantum computing, we don't have just Boolean values binary systems, yes or not. We have maybe, or I'm strongly maybe. So this kind of gray scales are valid on quantum computing. It's not only for the power itself, it's also for the diversity of potential solutions that we have between 1 and 0. And this is the real value. So quantum computing is bringing value because it's able to emerge new knowledge, new layers of emergence of knowledge based on this kind of natural systems. No, I think that this is a little bit complex, but the essence is that. No, it's like the nature. It's like the reality.
Yeah. I think technology, we haven't even seen how much technology is going to accelerate. We have a question from the chat, and I think this is a good one. Can we or should we, as a life sciences industry, work on a purpose-built LLM?
Neither one of us. Would you like me to take that one, Tony?
Yours, please.
Okay, so large language models, and again, everyone immediately thinks of GxP, but in reality, in life sciences, large language models don't need to be general purpose, and that's what GxP is, general purpose. So in life sciences, if you're using a large language model that's built on and is data driven, then there is a use for large language models in life sciences. Again, Tony was talking about spreadsheets that were too big for anyone to really analyze. Large language models that can take that data and convert it to natural language and say the trends that are here are, and it can actually put that out there. So it's using the mathematics, using the data, and then using the large language model to summarize it. So yeah, there is definitely use cases for large language models in life sciences.
So I know that we're coming up towards the top of the hour and we didn't get a chance, but maybe we need to follow this with the transformation of data into narratives using capabilities such as GxP functionality and things like that. So I just want to wrap things up with some key takeaways from today's discussion. Embracing Industry 4.0. That's not just the integration of AI and GxP, simply not just about automating tasks. And with Industry 4.0, it's about a profound shift where data-driven decisions emerge from the confluence of machines, algorithms, and human expertise. Operational excellence as a gold standard, moving beyond just operational streamlining and having operational excellence foster an environment of cross-functional collaboration. Realigning processes to serve the overarching goals of quality and efficiency. Leveraging the predictive power of quality management applications. Visualizing it as a dial, evolving from just capturing historical nuances to delivering predictive insights and enabling proactive measures. And of course, the crucial role of data integration and validation. It's not just about gathering data, it's about validating and ensuring accuracy. And integrated and validated data is the bedrock of trustworthy AI insights. We talked about enhancing electronic batch records to provide not just an overview, but using predictive insights to allow for significant savings in quality assurance by determining when to save or halt a process. So in essence, AI's potential in GxP environments is monumental. And the real value unfolds when it's strategically integrated with a foundation built in reliable data and guided by overarching industry principles. So I'd like to thank everyone today for joining us. Tony, George, I'd love to thank you both. What a great conversation. And we will share the presentation out with everyone, as I mentioned. And if there are additional follow-up questions post-session, please feel free to send an email. We'll gather them all up and share them out as we package up the recording for everyone. So thanks, everyone. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, George. All right, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. See you soon.